The unit ASS501 is all about advanced assessment. It's not just about our own assessment, but also the way in which we support others to be good at their assessment. So evidence for this unit will involve looking for two separate things. First, your assessment of students, and two, your leadership of others. So let's take a look at them in turn. For the assessment of students, you need to show us that you've assessed 20 students across not less than 50 units. Allow me to explain what that does not mean. That doesn't mean you need to assess 50 separate units. So a common approach here is to send in the records for assessing a class of, let's say, 20 students across 3 separate units. That's 20 times 3, which equals 60, which is more than enough. So what can you show for this? Well, for starters, you don't actually need to send in all of those assessments for all of the students. A common way of doing it is just simply to send through some records of class results. In this class here, we can see we have the unit code and the name. There are 18 students listed. I've blacked out their names for privacy, but I can see from the student numbers that it's 18 discrete students. I can see the final grade and that John Smith was the assessor. So in this situation, John Smith could use this as records for 18 students. What he'd simply need to do now is make sure that he sent through records for another 2 students and another 32 units. So once you've done that, you can also then send through details or some samples, of some completed scripts. We're looking here for examples of the feedback that you've actually given them. 3 or 4 students would be sufficient. If you need to, remove student surnames for privacy, and that basically concludes the first part. Most people don't seem to have too much trouble with that. So what's the second part? And this is the part where most people get stuck. This unit's not just about you working as an assessor, but helping to improve assessment by working with others. That can be anything from leading validation meetings or chairing moderation meetings, or even just developing assessment tools with your colleagues. The important thing here is that you are clearly the leader, the chair, or the organiser. So what can you provide? There are many ways to skin this particular cat. Minutes or notes from your meetings are great. Just make sure that you clearly show that you're the chair and the names of everyone else involved and dates. A common approach here is actually to send in validation documents for some assessment tools that you've looked at, and that's really good because that also relates to the unit ASS502. But remember here always, the requirement is that you have evidence of leading 5 other people. So you might have to submit minutes or other documents for a number of meetings to show the 5 different names involved. Of course, as with all of these, this is just a quick overview, so do be in touch if you'd like to talk through your own particular situation. Often, as I've said, a conversation of just a few minutes can help save you many hours of angst looking for things that you may or may not actually need.